One's ready. One's ready. Go! So you guys are going into Special Warfare Assessment Selection. It is an attributes-based selection model. What does that mean?
Guys, are we running right now to get fitter? Or are we practicing running? Practicing.
I can't freaking...
So there's a holistic picture that we're looking for. The instructors are giving you input, and we're expecting an output. And everything is for a reason. If you guys haven't heard my spiel yet, everything that we do, every single exercise, has a connection to the job that you're trying to do. We don't want people at INDOC, Special Warfare Assessment Selection, whatever they're gonna call the new course when it inevitably changes somewhere down the road. I don't care what they call it. What I need is you to show me the raw materials for the things that I wanna build you into. Just like everything else, it's a crawl, walk, run.
I can run a Keystone just like this. All the way to ATC, you never quit. All the way to ATC, you never quit.
About hey everybody, welcome back to the One's Ready podcast. Aaron and I in the team room with you, and we are going to give you the cheat codes on how to better prepare for the pipeline, because that's really why you guys are here anyway. And yes, we have covered this in the past, but newsflash, nobody ever goes back and takes a look at old catalog stuff, back catalog, if you will. So I figured that today would be a good chance for us to do that.
Yeah. I do want to give credit. One guy DM me, and he was like, hey man, he was like, I was going to DM you and ask you a bunch of questions, but every time I have one, I just search the YouTube and it turns out you guys already have a video on it. And I was like, we made it.
We got one.
We got one. We got it. And I was just like, I want to give you props, dude. I was like, we get so many. I was like, and guys, we love the questions, right? Like, that's why we're here. Open, honest, vulnerable, transparent, accessible. That's what we want to do here. Like, we want to answer your questions. It's a little frustrating answering the same questions, but I will say that when you guys do your own research and you ask like good questions and nuanced questions, man, that makes us feel good. So yeah. I'll give you kudos. I'm not even being mean, right? We're going to keep it positive today. You guys get positive, Aaron. Uncle Aaron is going to have a good day today, you know?
Everybody, this is what Operator Training Summit Aaron is like.
It really is.
He's the positive mental attitude. He's positive. He's the coach, if you will, you know, just good job.
Yeah. Well, great. You know what? I was on with Teresa Carpenter. She had invited me on a Stories of Service last night. And like halfway through, she's like, oh my goodness. She's like, I am just learning a whole different side of you. You know, you're like these things that you're saying. She's like, you really care about stuff. And I was like, listen, I hope this podcast doesn't go viral because I have a carefully crafted online persona. That's why when I get into like instructor mode at the OTSs and I'm just there to, you know, give instruction and stuff, people are like, wow, I didn't even know you had this side of you. I actually do it to troll. Because it's like, it's really jarring to people. They're like, oh, I thought you were 100% douchebag. It turns out you're like 99%. Totally really, it throws me off. Right. Yeah. Don't tell people that there's a good side to me.
Well, and speaking of the Operator Training Summits, we do have slots available still for Nashville. Looking at the towards the end of October, we'll have you guys out. We've got a whole day of the pool scheduled, and we've got a whole day of land-based stuff. So calisthenics, running, rucking, mobility, nutrition, that kind of stuff. We'll have a recruiter Q&A come out for that. We've got Taylor Starch coming out for that. You'll have, you're not making this one.
I'm not.
But Trent will be there. Chris Thomas will be there. And then another PJ who is still serving will be there. So nice. It's going to be great. Every single time we get better and better at it. And I mean,
it's 100%. Yeah, it's 100% Air Force focused. Like it's great that, you know, other folks want to go do different things, but 100% Air Force focused. Like we have all the information. It doesn't matter what the pipeline do. The pipeline's probably going to change in between now and then. You're talking to the people that know the most. We are the most plugged into the community. We get day-to-day updates on all this stuff. You guys have seen the reels and seen the podcast. We know exactly what's going on. We're going to help you prepare, and we're going to help you weather that storm of what's happening in between now and then. So you guys should come out to Nashville. I will say, so the times that we've had these before, it's like 2 or 3 days before we get like all of these people that sign up, and we're like, holy crap, we didn't think we were going to, you know, we don't have a class number. We'll do this for 2 people. We don't care. Like, it wouldn't be fiscally responsible for us to do that, but you know, we'll do, it doesn't matter. Like if we have 15 people sign up, we'll do a class for 15 people. But you know, the last couple of times, you know, it's been 3 or 4 weeks out and we've been like, you know, 10 people signed up, you know, maybe like it's 2 months out. Like, what is it, August? So we have, like, this thing is at the end of October. We've already got like a third of the class filled up.
Yeah.
So if you want a seat at this bad boy, like, you got to get in there. As soon as you get in, we'll add you to the group chat. You can start making friends. You can start figuring out travel arrangements. It's a lot easier, but this thing is gaining steam, folks. So sign up, get yourself together now. If you need a couple weeks of a paycheck and scrimping and saving to get some money together, hey, we got you. Just shoot us a message and be like, hey, I'm definitely doing this thing, and we'll go from there. But sign up soon.
Yeah.
Spots are filling up, man.
Yeah, and to your point about the information, there's no gag order that can be put on cadre that won't mean they won't let us in on anything and everything. So
no,
gag orders don't work.
Yeah, legal disclaimer: nobody from the Special Warfare Training Wing would ever violate a gag order. They are professionals, and they would never tell us anything. But it's okay, because Special Warfare Training Command is a very small little piece of the world, and there's a whole bigger piece of the world that we talk to. So
yeah,
we are in your walls.
Yeah. and also, this is a side note, no airman or NCO would ever lie about, discharging a SIG or anything like that.
Crazy. So what Peaches is talking about is the SIG P320 stuff. So a couple of things can be true at the same time. The SIG P320 100% will fire uncommanded in your holster. It can be repeated. I'll find the video for you and I'll put it up on our page, like the Instagram page or something. But a guy was able to replicate this SIG firing simply by manipulating the slide with the safety on, so it does fire in the holster. We thought that that's what happened. This was a space
FE Warren.
Yeah, FE Warren, so a Global Strike Command. The commander of Global Strike Command basically put out a stop to everybody using that weapon. Well, then the big development that just happened yesterday was that OSI opened up the investigation to include foul play, essentially. So they were like, hey, we thought this was an accident. Well, OSI had to open the investigation up to be like, well, maybe something else happened. So that is wild. The question you got to ask yourself there, in the civilian world, right? Like, if this was just all civilians and you had some letter came out that contained false information that caused monetary damage to another company, you would be fiscally liable for that. So when the commander of Air Force Global Strike Command comes out and says, until further notice, we're not using this pistol, and all of the news reports came out that support the reason why he did it, which he said that SIG fired in the holster and killed an airman, SIG dumped millions from their stock price. They have been irreparably fiscally harmed by this. Now, again, two things can be true at the same time. The weapon has a problem.
Yeah.
Like, I can show you on video a guy getting it to do it, like using a simple process. Yeah, 5 times in a row, that weapon will fire uncommanded. So two things can be true at the same time. The SIG does fire, but man, now we're talking about, like, should that, commander, should that general be somehow fiscally responsible for essentially slander and libel to SIG? Because they lost millions, bro.
It's going to be interesting. I don't think that there has ever been anything like this scenario ever.
I've never seen anything like this.
It's going to be wild to watch. But
yeah.
Anyway, that's not why you guys are here. We're here to give you cheat codes on how to best prepare for the pipeline. And I'll tell you right now, not one single thing that we're going to say is going to be cosmic or like mind-blowing or anything like that. It's just going to be, oh, no shit. No, I didn't think about that. Like, not bad.
Maybe I should do that.
Yeah. So one of the trend items, right, that the cadre and the physical trainers and streak trainers and stuff like that have seen, and probably a lot of the recruits have experienced, is, shin splints, pain on their feet, just like, because the amount of time on feet in the pipeline is unbelievable. Right. And I know that we actually did talk to one of the cadre that was wearing a like a Garmin or something like that, and actually tracked their daily average, and it was around 22 miles, if I remember right.
Yeah, and durability. Yeah, they're estimating anywhere between 20 to 22 miles of steps and movement and program runs and rucks and running from one place to another and all this other stuff. And the other thing about that is, like, you guys are underweight. It's not just time on feet, but you have a big green ruck on your back. And in that ruck is all of your gear for the entire day, to include your weight belt, your fins, your mask, your food, your extra uniforms, your boots. Everything that you need for the day has a packing list. and you're going to carry that ruck around. So it's not just time on feet, but it's time on feet under load.
Yep.
There's not a lot of sitting down time. There's not a lot of classroom time. People talk about this in basic training. Like if you actually look at the trends in basic training, folks that are showing up to basic training now have the same thing. Now we're talking about lesser trained individuals, but when you're at basic training, you're marching around, and when you're waiting for things, you're standing there and you're reading a book and you're on your feet and you're up and you're moving to this place or the other. And folks aren't used to that. And even in basic training, like you put on a new boot that's not broken in, that you just got issued, you're standing there in the Texas heat. So that heat is making your body work, and you're just getting super tired, super fatigued. And then you see musculoskeletal injuries. Well, now multiply that times a bajillion and compare it to the special warfare assessment selection pipeline. Man, you are spending time on feet, and it's time under load. It is time where you have weight on your back, sometimes as much as a fourth of your body weight, maybe a third of your body weight on your back, and you are just literally standing there. Like, I think that's what people don't realize when we tell people, hey, you realize you run to every event, right? And they kind of like look at us and are like, what do you mean? When you move from an event, if that event is 2 miles away, you put your little ruck on, you form it up, and you run your happy team down to that event.
Yeah.
You might be carrying logs, you might be carrying boats. You got to get all of
what I was going to throw on. You might have a railroad tie that you got to carry. Like it's not, hey, you're not doing 7-minute miles, right? When we say you're running to these events, it's a double time. It's a, I don't know, probably an 8:30, 9-minute pace, maybe.
It's a shuffle, right?
Yeah,
you're not running fast.
Yeah. But again, you've got the ruck on. If you're not used to running, you're carrying a log, or you're carrying the worm or something like that, or a boat.
Oh, man. And there's always a timeline. You know, the instructor, it's going to sound like this. Like you get done at the pool. So you get done at the Maltz Aquatic Center. Now, the Maltz Aquatic Center, I'm going to be very old here for a second.
Yeah.
It used to be a lot harder for us because the pools were nowhere near the chow hall. When you were over on main side of base, there were 2 pools that you used to train at. It was a Skylark. So if you imagine a septic tank that they opened the top of, right? And then on top of that septic tank, they put a greenhouse. That was the Skylark pool, quite literally. It had glass sides. This doesn't make any sense in Texas, right? This has glass sides, like all the doors would open so that in the winter they could open the glass doors and it would be freezing. And in the summer they would close the doors and it would be the hottest thing on the face of the planet. Literally, like no kidding, a greenhouse. But that pool was like, I don't know, a mile and a quarter away from the chow hall where you'd have to run. So you get done with the pool session, you just absolutely lost a piece of your soul. You're trying to get yourself ready to go. And they're like, all right, 20 minutes. You guys got to, get your crap together. You guys got to be down at the chow hall because chow hall opens at a specific time. And all of those times are stacked. Like they have to tell the people when you're going to be there. Like they have to schedule with the chow hall. It's like, hey, 135 extra folks are going to be showing up at your chow hall on these days. So you have a timeline and you have to be there in that timeline. So there's no dilly-dallying. You're not riding a bus. You're putting your ruck on and you're running. And then on the other pool, we trained at what was called the chaparral pool. The chaparral pool used to be outside, and they put one of those big, like almost inflatable domes over the top of it. But that one was also about a mile away from the closest chow hall. So when you're talking about doing time, like you're trying to figure out how to make this movement happen, you're like, oh man, we got the heat mitt gear, we got big coolers, we got everybody's gear, everybody's got to change, we got to pick this log up, we got to walk with this log all the way down there. We have to be there in 30 minutes. You can't just go slower or you're not going to eat. So, it's a little bit different over at the Maltz because everything is on one training compound, right? Like the Maltz Aquatic Center is pretty close to that chow hall, but still, you're still running. Like it's still an 800-meter movement to the chow hall and an 800-meter movement back. And then sometimes you are lucky enough to get a bus ride to a different training area, but every single training event that you're doing, you're running in between. Yep. And you're running, by the way, even, during the day, if you have an appointment, you are running. That is part of the culture. Like you are in your nice uniform. Like if you got to go to medical, you're running to medical. If you got to go to the dentist, you're running to the dentist. Like, and if somebody sees you not running, you are in trouble, my friend.
And don't think it's not a punishment thing. It's establishing culture. It's also getting you in shape. Like it's also helping you out. Like it seems like, dude, why the hell do I got to do this? It's all to help you out and establish a certain culture and mindset. I do want to show some pictures of what you're talking about in terms of Skylark.
Oh no, you're gonna make
There you go.
There it is.
That's kind of what we're talking about here.
That pool was the dirtiest.
Yeah, it was pretty nasty. You can see all the condensation up there too. This is midday, right? All that condensation. Ugh.
Yeah, all those doors. If it was a little bit cold out, don't worry, they'll cool you down.
We'll open it up, and then you got this dude. Look at
that. The young man. Classic tan lines there, pretty good.
Yeah, I failed my dive physics test.
Oh, perfect.
So I ended up being the metric marvel. Anyway.
The funniest part about that is that so many people, like, the fact that that thing exists, it's not like they made it for you.
No.
That thing existed and they just put it on your head. So the instructors at one point were like, you know what we need? We need a way to shame a student for not being able to figure out dive physics as a 17-year-old. Get him a cone head.
Yeah. Which now they consider hazing, but I tell you what, it was hilarious. And I didn't think it. I mean, you saw a smile on my face. Like, it was great. Anyway.
That's not fair. You're always smiling.
Yeah,
you're smiling at the worst parts of life.
That's true.
Yeah, so time on feet, everybody. Like, you do not spend enough time on your feet. I'm telling you right now.
No.
I am telling you right now. And even if it's something I'm looking right now, and my wife has a little walking treadmill that she takes meetings from to get her steps in. Like, if you guys are just not spending enough time on your feet, and you're definitely not spending enough time under load. I'll just tell you that right now. So even something as simple as, weight vests are pretty cheap. You can get a 20 to 60 pound weight vest on Amazon right now, and it ain't that cheap, or it ain't that expensive. So, there's nothing to say you couldn't start adding that in, taking a couple runs, weighted runs, taking a couple walks, and just really conditioning those lower legs, because it's a huge issue, right?
Yeah.
Especially lower leg musculoskeletal issues. It's just overuse. Folks get down there and the volume, no kidding, breaks them. We've talked about volume all the time, but especially for time on feet, it's really important. The more time that you can spend on your feet, the better.
Yeah, and if you've been a high school student, you're recently graduated, you're not spending much time on your feet. You're in the classroom, so you could always get a job. So to the weight vest thing, you could wear the weight vest all the time around the house, just walking, whatever, right? You could also get a job that requires you to have a lot of time on feet. So whether it's packing shelves or
landscaping, anything,
whatever that forces you where you're not at a sit down job or sitting down behind a computer or anything like that, something that you're always standing, that's going to help you out. Try and get a minimum of 10,000 steps a day. That is like the baseline. And that is not a hard number to reach, but you'll be amazed at how many people don't get anywhere close to that.
Old people and fat people, that's what doctors recommend to get, guys. Like, it's not like you're supposed to be a tier 1 athlete here, like a combat athlete at the tippity top of your profession. 10,000 steps is what they recommend, like cancer patients and 60-year-olds to get for health. So that should be a starting point.
And I think it'll surprise many of the folks out there that if they wear an Apple Watch or a Garmin or something, some kind of step counter, right? And just wear it for a week and see how many times you on a normal day you don't hit 10,000 because you've been sitting behind a computer or sitting your ass on the couch eating bonbons, like.
Are bonbons still a thing?
I don't know. That's a CT Fletcher callback.
That used to be such like an old person slur. Like, that was like the trope of the housewife. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you had some housewife that was sitting at home watching her soap operas, eating bonbons on the couch. That's hilarious. That is such a dated reference. Like, nobody's going to get that.
Well,
eating your flaming hot Cheetos, drinking your Mountain Dew, sitting on the couch.
Well, if anybody knows CT Fletcher out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I love it. It's your motherfucking set.
It's still your set.
It's still your set. You die. I love to. We would listen to. This was before pre-workout. There was a bunch of pre-workout. So what we used to do is we used to watch YouTube compilations. So sometimes it was Ronnie Coleman, but CT Fletcher was very popular for one of my Afghanistan rotations. So you would hear that, and we would all go to the gym at a different time, right? You just, when you're deployed, you just fold the gym into whenever it is that you want to do it. I like working out right when I wake up, first thing of the day. So that's what I would do. If we were working at night, I would work out in the late afternoon, like 5 or 6 o'clock, and then be ready for work when we took over shift. But you would hear those videos start off, and you hear CT Fletcher talk about, I'm banging arms every day. My birthday, arms. Christmas, arms. My anniversary, arms. I had a heart attack, which is true. At 52 years old, dude had a heart attack like in the middle of New York City or something. Arms. He was like, I'd rather be overtrained than undergained. You can't train hard enough to overtrain your arms. And you would just hear that going off in the team room. You'd be like, these dudes are about to go jack some steel.
Yeah, he was a monster. Absolute monster. Still is a monster, even at his age and with the like multiple heart bypasses and everything that he's had.
Yeah, I think he's had like 3 at this point. That guy's crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah.
But yeah, get time on feet. It's work it into your day. You know, if you are going to watch a movie at the house or something like that, obviously not in a theater because that's a little bit weird. But you know, if you're going to watch a movie at the house, stand up,
right?
Or be doing mobility, something to progress you, not sitting your ass on the couch.
Yeah, and it's as easy as, man, just wake up a half an hour earlier and go for a walk. Go for a 3-mile walk. Like, it doesn't have to be crazy. You can do others. You can listen to a podcast. You can, hopefully this podcast, you can walk around. You can do whatever it is that you need. Just go for an extra walk. Like, start there. Like, that's the other thing when we talk about preparing for a pipeline. People look at this thing and it's like, you know, how do you eat an elephant? Well, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. We're not asking you to be the finished product right now. Like, you're not going to listen to this podcast and I'm going to start all of these things tomorrow because it'll break you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wake up 30 minutes earlier, go for a walk in the morning, getting sunlight on your face, walking around. If you have a dog, go walk your dog. Your dog will love an extra walk in the day. I just got back from a walk with my dog because a tired dog is a good dog. Go take your dog for an extra walk. When you get home at night, as opposed to coming home and immediately, you know, throwing grid time on or before dinner, just go for an extra walk. That's it. That's how you start. It's super simple, but 10,000 steps a day, get some time on feet. That's all.
Yep, exactly. And that'll just help. I know cardio, right? Cardio is cardio. It's walking is not necessarily cardio, but it kind of is, right? And not talking about speed walking or anything like that, but the average person that is in the gym every day spends about 3 hours on average a week. You are training for the hardest pipeline in the DoD, and you're expecting to get, you know, pass and do well and all that kind of stuff at 3 hours a day. You need to be at least double that. Double that. And by cardio,
3 hours a week, double that, at least 6 hours a week training.
Yeah, sorry. So, dude, just starting off, nobody expects you to go from cold or 0 to all of a sudden doing 6 hours a day. And this is the way that you work into that.
Yep. Next one I want to talk about is run time. Why are we talking time on feet? Number one, because we want you to be durable and we want you to avoid those musculoskeletal injuries. Number 2 way to be successful at the pipeline, and this is data driven, faster runners graduate more, period. End of statement. Faster runners graduate at a higher rate than slower runners do. When I see somebody that's like, listen, my IFT is good, and I'm like, okay, well, what's your weakest event? And they tell me the run, I immediately go, uh-oh. It's just a fact. The faster of a runner you are, the easier time and the higher graduation rate you were going to see out of special warfare assessment selection. Notice what we're not talking about. We're not talking about the pool. We're not talking about, grass and gorillas. We're not talking about mental events like tests or whatever else. We're talking about simple things, run time. If you are going to prioritize anything in your training, in my opinion, it should be your run time, because I am an outputs guy. I look at the entire world as a spreadsheet. What's my input? What's my output? And how valuable is it? If you spend more time training your run and you have a faster run time as your output, then what you're going to get, what the value of that training is that you have a higher chance of graduating at selection. You have to prioritize your run times. You have to. You cannot be an average runner and an above average calisthenics monster. I'm not saying calisthenics don't matter. You can still fail for those. So I'm going to put them in the same bucket as they're important, but there's levels, right? If you're going to prioritize anything, you get fast at the run first. Every single thing you need to be focusing on gets faster at the run. Is there strength training that you can do that helps with your run? Absolutely. Is there mobility that you can do? Like, talk to Taylor Starch. Talk about your hips, talk about your knees, talk about your ankles, talk about your ability to cause space in those joints and exert force. and you will become a faster runner. But running is the number one thing that you should focus on when you're preparing for this event. You cannot be an average runner and pass special warfare assessment selection.
And that's not our data, right? That is people that have come and studied NSW BUDS. They've studied Special Forces Assessment Selection. They've studied ours, and that is the common factor that they found. That is, like, if you are a good runner or can run a certain pace and maintain it, you have a better chance of passing selection on any of the services than you do if you're a mediocre runner.
And if we want to tie it into the first one, if you spend a lot of time running, guess what you're doing? You're conditioning those lower legs, ankles, knees, and hips in order to put stress on those lower, and you're strengthening yourself while you're running. If you are a good runner, you're most likely not going to have those musculoskeletal injuries we talked about as the first point on how to be successful. If you are a good runner, it's going to make your swimming better because of the cardiovascular load that you're putting on your system. You're able to maintain paces for longer. You have to be a faster runner.
Yep.
A 7-minute pace is not fast enough unless you're holding a 7-minute pace for like 7 or 8 miles consistently. And I'm talking 7 minutes on the dot consistently. Unless you're that trained, it ain't fast enough. For that 1.5 mile pace, you got to be sub 7.
Yeah.
If you're running a 1.5 miles, you have to be able to sub 7 is your goal. Like, I'd like to see somebody run a 6:30. That'd be great because that puts your 1.5 mile time around 9:15. That's just about right.
Yeah, it really is. That's the comfortable one, because you got to think about fatigue over time, right? When we do talk about all that time on feet, if you're not used to it, but you can still run a 6:30, that gives you a lot of, wiggle room in there to work when you're fatigued, or you're having an off day, or you didn't hydrate well the day before, that kind of stuff, or you didn't fuel properly with your nutrition, So,
yeah, and by the way, it's a 9:45. That would be a 9:45 mile and a half, not a 9:15. I misspoke.
Correcting that math.
Had to. Somebody's going to catch it in the comments. I got to get ahead of it.
Actually,
I did the math. It was pretty simple. So I just took half of 6:30 and then added it to 6:30, and that's what it is.
Can't believe you messed that up, but whatever.
I know, yeah. More creatine.
Yeah, and it's not just going out and crushing yourself on every single run, because it's going to overtax your body, because what you do today taxes you for follow-on workouts through the week. Also, it's just going to make running unenjoyable, right? And maybe running will always be unenjoyable. It used to be unenjoyable for me, and now I enjoy it because I don't go out there and crush myself over time. So do your long, slow distance. That's what LSD stands for if you guys are looking at training plans or anything like that. LSD is long, slow distance. Do interval training. Do sprints. Do high intensity running, where it's still kind of sprints, but maybe a longer distance kind of thing.
Right.
Run hills, all those kind of things to help you kind of add variety and train all these different muscles. Because if you do all those and then you haven't done hills and you happen to go out and do hills, you're going to feel that.
Right.
And all these little muscles.
Oh yeah. A really handy training tool for this is the Fartlek run. So Fartlek. I believe it's a Swedish word. I don't know what the translation is, but I'll make it up. Fast and slow, as I'll say what that stands for. It doesn't. But basically go out with the intention, like set a 3 mile, find a 3 mile course, but every half mile, just dead sprint for 400 meters, and then recover, and then do that again. And if you do that, I promise you will see your run times go through the roof, meaning you will go faster and faster and faster. Having those times, and you can do this on a really short course as well. If you want to do for just a mile, right? 4 laps around the track, just sprint the curves. So as you get to the end of that track, just go ahead and pick your pace up to where you're just barely getting close to that red line by the time you get around to the end of the curve, and then slow down to a really slow jog and recover. And start with a mile and see how that feels. Like, that's a really handy thing to put into your run program that really does help. Like, fartleks are one of those things. Like, if I'm trying, I hate running. I've never gotten to the point where I enjoy it. And you know what sucks? I've said this before, but I actually get pretty good at running if I ever did run, because I'm an athlete. Like, I pay attention to form and practice like I'm supposed to. Taylor Starch, shout out. I actually get good at it. I just hate it. It's never been a thing where I've never looked forward to it. Every run that I've ever taken in my life has been against my will. It has never been a thing that I'm just like, oh, it sounds good today. I'm just going to go out for a run today. If I have to resort to a run, it's because I've traveled, I'm nowhere near a gym.
Yeah.
I don't have that much time. And I'm like, man, I got 30 minutes where I have to get this workout in. All right, I'm just going to go for a run. My wife even knows. Like, if I look at her and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go get a quick run. She's like, the last time I said that, she no kidding looked at me and was like, I'm sorry. I was like,
great. Aaron's going to come back in a bad mood. Great.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't make me feel good. I never get the runner's high. I literally hate every single step. However, Fartlek runs when I want to get faster at running, and when I'm really focusing on getting a faster run time, especially for short distances. We're talking 1.5 to 3 mile, which is where you should be focusing. Like that's really where you should be focusing on for your IFT preparation and getting ready to get in the pipeline. Put those Fartlek runs in there and start getting faster at that 1.5. I'll tell you, if you can run a 3 mile pace, and we've talked about like what I would like to see a candidate do before they get in, where I think they'll be successful. If you can run a 5K around that 18 to 20 minute mark, you're doing pretty well. You are doing pretty freaking well. If you can run 3 miles right about that 6:30 pace that Peaches and I were talking about, you should feel really good about your run. And until then, you should have some worries. You should think about prioritizing that run in your training program.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of brought it up before. Fueling. Food is fuel, right? And if you are, we'll just call it coming off the couch or hanging out at 3 hours a week of working out on average, and you increase that, you're going to need to increase your fuel intake. And that's just the reality of it. And not just your fuel intake or food intake, hydration, right? Hoist is an option. There are other options as well.
Yeah.
But, drinkhoist.com, promo code one's ready. But they also sell it at commissaries and gas stations and HEBs and all that kind of good stuff. So that's one aspect of it, right? Hydration, because it's super important. You can also boost these gains with Tasty Gains. Just throwing it out there.
I love it.
Throwing it out there.
I can't wait to see you today. Because I'm going to get my pack of Tasty Gains. I'm excited about that. I can't wait. That's the one reason I'm excited about picking your daughter up for this ghost show. Skeletor, no big deal.
But for real, I tell the story in the past about being at dive school, right, down at Key West. And I was always, the way the dive schools work out, dive teams, is the fastest team is team 1, and then it just kind of goes on down, and team 42 or whatever is the last team, which is the slowest people, right? Because we try and pair them up, because putting the fastest person with the slowest person would not end well for anybody. So as people attrit out of the course and quit or fail or whatever, I keep boosting up because I was the last team. So I keep gaining ground. But then I started to slow really, really bad. And then I'm devouring all the food that I can at the chow hall, which was fantastic, but it still wasn't enough. And one of the cadres pulled me over. He's like, dude, you better figure something out because you're going to be gone. And he's talking to me about how much I'm eating. He goes, that's not enough. I'm like, dude, I am full when I'm leaving the chow hall. I can't do anything about it. He goes, yeah, well, take bags of chips, cookies, whatever. You wake up in the middle of the night and you eat those things and then go back to sleep. So I tried it. Immediate difference. The very next day, woke up at midnight, throwing down cookies and chips. The next day, I noticed difference, that I had more energy. I could perform better. So you have to. And I know that some of you are needing to lose weight and that kind of stuff. That weight loss will come, even with you fueling, because you are going to increase your work output so much, and that weight will fall off. Don't worry about that. But you've got to fuel if you want to effectively train.
The worst thing you can actually do if you're trying to lose weight is not eat enough. If you're trying to restrict calories and train, it's not going to work. You need to eat enough to fuel your training and be ready to go. It's really simple. We've had Eric on from Modern Athlete Strength. So go over to Modern Athlete Strength, no big deal. Promo code one's ready. We had Eric on and he talked about it's really simple. Start simply. Protein, carbs, color. That's what you need to eat. Protein, carbs, color. You need carbs for training. This is not the time for these wacky diets. Listen, the keto diet, a carb exclusionary diet, some sort of carnivore diet. I get it. There's a place for that. Some people use them and love them. Some people don't. I've been on a ton of different diets in my entire life. You need protein, you need carbs, you need color. Throw some vegetables on your plate. Have a good mix. You should prioritize protein. Meet your protein goals first. If we're talking about the, stepping stones, figure out what your protein goals are. It's super simple to go onto any website and get your protein intake requirements. And then just start hitting your protein goals and see how that feels. And once you, obviously, like, processed foods are not great. Like, I don't want to see you hitting your protein goals by doing the CT Fletcher and throwing down 6 double doubles from In-N-Out and calling that good. Be like, well, I met my protein goals. Good, clean protein, fish, meat, like meat, chicken, protein shakes work great in a pinch, especially before you go to sleep. There's a study out there that if you take 40 grams of protein before sleeping, your body recovers, repairs, and takes that protein in over the course of 7 hours while you're asleep. It helps with your own natural growth hormone production. It's a great thing to do at the end of the night if you're having problem meeting those protein goals. Before you go to bed, you're not training to be a Hollywood model. I don't care if people are like, oh, it converts to fat at night. Listen, there's plenty of science out there that supports exactly what we're talking about. Get some whole milk, throw it in a protein shake, get 40 to 50 grams of protein before you go to sleep, and it will change your life. You will wake up feeling better the next day. You'll train better. Protein, carbs, color. And you can just start with your protein. Just hit your protein goals. Start there. And then worry about all this. Everybody wants to ask, well, what about all this other supplementation? Yes, creatine is important. Yes, vitamin D3 is important. Yes, boron and zinc and magnesium and all these other micronutrients. They're super important to training, right? They're not important for training at your level. If you're just starting out, just hit your protein goals. That's enough. That's enough to start. And then once you get your protein goals and you're hitting that every single day, then you can start playing around with other stuff, right? Carbs will help you out. Carbs are not the enemy. You need them. Your brain needs glycogen. Your muscles need glycogen. Everything in your body runs off of carbs. You're a sugar-based organism. That doesn't mean processed sugar, but in a pinch, get whatever carbs you can, right? There's good, better, best. Protein goals first. Clean protein is best. If you have to default to go to McDonald's one day and get 3 double cheeseburgers because you just weren't able to eat that day, well, then that's what it is for that day. But get to your protein goals first.
And that episode that you're talking about with Eric Groman from Modern Athlete Strength System is episode 427. Now, I just tried to go to one of the links, and it looks like one of the links that he provided, because it's he's all in all these universities, Oregon State University and that kind of stuff. One of the links doesn't work anymore, so I don't know if that got removed or changed. But the other one does work. So episode 427 to check that out.
Right. And a quick note, along with nutrition, hydration, I'm just going to tell you, a gallon of water should be your goal. I don't care. There's calculators out there for body weight, and like typically it's like an ounce per pound of body weight, right? So for me, 200-pound dude, I'm supposed to be drinking 200 ounces of water a day. I'm just telling you right now, with training, everybody's training in the heat. You're going to San Antonio, Texas. Just drink a gallon of water for a week. I get made fun of like in the gym, like the gym that I work out is just a normie gym here in Vegas. And it's funny because people look, I have a gallon Yeti that I carry with me legit everywhere. Like the people at work are like, dang, you drink that thing the whole day. It's a little bit of math because I don't want to have to remember how many bottles I've drank in a day. I'm like, well, by the end of the day, I'm going to drink this water bottle. Drink a gallon of water a day. I'm just telling you right now. Like if you want to talk about just baselining yourself, and like nutrition and hydration are your physiological baselines for everything. The only thing that you can adjust at a molecular level, like you can affect your body at a molecular level, is your nutrition and your hydration. Drink a gallon of water a day. You're not drinking enough water. I'll just tell you straight up. Until you're drinking a gallon of water a day, sometimes I will get done with my workout in the morning, and if it was a hard workout and I'm drinking water how I'm supposed to be, I'm filling that gallon up for the rest of my day when I go to work. So morning training session's done. I get through 3/4, sometimes an entire gallon by the time that I'm done with that 2-hour training session in the morning. And then I'm drinking another like half a gallon during the day. I can feel it when I don't drink a gallon of water. Those days that I just, especially rest days, because I'm not like constantly just like, oh, I need a drink. If I only drink a half gallon of water or so, the next day I wake up and I can feel it. Like I can feel that I haven't drank enough water. So I'm just telling you right now, along with nutrition, you are not drinking enough water. Hydration, like Hoist, can really help as an adjunct, right? Like some days I need an extra Hoist in my life. I just really do. Get that American Punch is fantastic. 5-star Punch is so good. Anyway,
Yeah, Taylor Starch has got, and I know this is not his, but he talks about it at the Operator Training Summit about the how you can tell if you're hydrating enough, if you're intaking enough water. And I don't remember exactly how he says it, but because I'm usually cooking burgers and hot dogs at that point. But it's something that everybody can do. It's based off of like the sweat rings on your shirt and how much you're sweating or not sweating and that kind of stuff.
You can use a urine color scale. You can go anywhere and you can Google urine color and you can tell how hydrated you are. The darker your urine is, the less hydrated you are. If you're peeing yellow, you're not hydrated enough. It should be clear.
Yeah.
It should be near clear for your hydration level.
Yep. One of the other things that we see, right, as a trend is people will tell us or tell recruiters or developers or whoever's administering their test before the pipeline is, yeah, man, I'm good on the test. I can pass it. But then they actually take the test and they fail and they don't understand why. And then you start peeling back the layers of like, hey, exploring what could have happened. And it turns out like they would go train the run and they'd crush the run. But that's all they'd do that day. They'd go do pull-ups, but that was all they did was pull-ups, or they'd do push-ups, and they'd get the passing numbers there, but they would never do the test in its entirety. And you got to understand what the test is about. It is designed to fatigue you. So there's a reason why it goes in that order, because they're essentially building on each other. Your hip flexors are going to be trashed.
Yeah. And the run is at the end, folks. If you're not aware of the IFT is not secret. We can get you the form. We can tell you exactly how you're going to do it. There are specified rest periods. There's specified times for every single event. Pull-ups in 2 minutes, push-ups in 2 minutes, sit-ups in 2 minutes, and then the run, and then the underwaters, and then the swim, right? These things, by the time you get to that swim, you were tired. Like if you're doing how you're supposed to be doing and you're giving 100% on that test, you cannot train these things in pieces and parts. The only time that you should be talking about evaluating your IFT numbers should be within the confines of actually running the test. I do not care that, you had a little bit of a warm up, you got your chest ready to go and you drop 75 push-ups. You're like tight. That's not the way that you evaluate those. You need to do the pull-ups, max effort, 2-minute rest, the push-ups, max effort, 2-minute rest, the sit-ups, max effort, 2-minute rest. I think I got those backwards. I think you do sit-ups before push-ups.
Yeah.
But you need to run those things in order and then tell me what it is. Don't tell me you have a 10-minute run time and you're good because you ran a 1.5 miles slick after a warm up without doing pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups first. Yeah. Because that's how you're going to be tested.
And I'm telling you, it happens all the time, folks. Like it really does.
I've done it. I mean, I've run multiple tests before where, I have a guy that's come, when I was at the 2-2, we got a request and somebody was like, hey, can we run this PT test? And I was like, well, I'm probably the right guy for it. So I go out there and it's a guy that wants to cross train. He was working over at the airfield. By the way, Goot yelled at me about this because this guy did not succeed. And then he washed out pretty early in the process. He decided to quit pretty early. And because my name was on that piece of paper and Goot was the MFM at the time, I got a very angry phone call from him. He's like, what the I was like, listen, man, he passed the test. What do you want me to tell you? Like, I didn't co-sign this guy. Like, I didn't call you to tell you this guy's going to be a great candidate. Like, my name just happens to be on the paper. It was funny. But when a war hero yells at you, you got to just say, roger that, chief.
That's why, people have asked us for letters of recommendation. Now, we don't know these people, right? Yeah. People have asked us for letters of recommendation to help. Like, I'm not signing that. It's not because I don't, well, one, I don't know you, so I don't know if I like you or not. But at the same time, like, I'm not putting my name and recommending you when I don't know you, and I don't necessarily know that you're actually going to make it or that you're going to go through with it.
Right.
To be honest, statistically, you're not
going to. Right.
I mean, let's be real, and that's maybe it's an asshole move, I don't know, but when we do these operator training summits and we've got 40 people there, it's like, hey, just so you guys know, most of you guys aren't going to make it.
Right.
Like it's just the reality of it. And
unless you guys take in every single lesson from this thing and completely change the way you're doing. Like if we were running the OTSs as a selection course, looking around at and this is every single time, like the last course that we ran, I'll give them their flowers. Like that San Diego team was a very high skill team. Like we were able to do a lot more with that team because they were like, they had the basics covered. And that was impressive. And those guys deserve a shout out. Those guys and girls deserve a shout out. But I'll tell you what, looking around at those people, like the attrition rate that we have and that we see at Special Warfare Assessment Selection, that is pretty standard, especially for the OTSs. You know, there's a handful, you know, if we have a 50-person class, you're looking at 10, maybe 12 people that are like, okay, I think those dudes are good. Like those dudes got a great shot. And then there's like 10 or 15 more people where you're like, they're right on that edge, but I don't know.
Yeah.
They're right on that sort of precipice. And I don't know. To get back to the IFT that I was running, you know, this combat control trainee gets in and I'm like, hey, so, you know, standard in brief with me. I'm like, how you doing? Have you run an IFT before? What are your training numbers? Like, what are you hoping to hit today is a question I would always ask. Like, what numbers do you think you're going to hit today? So that I had kind of an idea of how much that they've been training. You know, this combat control hopeful that worked on the airfield at the 2-2, you know, goes through his pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, and he's kind of like slowing down. You know, I asked him kind of, hey, what do you think you're going to hit for your push-ups? He's like, oh, like 75. We got like 65 or 63 push-ups. And you got up and you could see it on his face. He was like, uh-oh. And then he gets his run, and the run time was good. It was passing, and I don't remember his time. It was passing. It wasn't fast, but he literally like threw up after the run. And I kind of looked at him and I was like, hey, bro, how are you feeling about this test? And he's like, oh, I don't know. I think I was just nervous and all this other stuff. And I kind of looked at him and I was like, I'm going to give you some input here. I was like, I think you have some work to do. Because as Peaches and I are talking about this and training the IFT, right, how to be successful is you need to really have your numbers from an IFT, preferably an evaluated IFT. Preferably it's when you're, you know, when you go to development, when you're ready to get in the development program, the IFT numbers that you're telling us should come off of a sheet from somebody that graded you. That is where, if you're running it on your own, I'm sorry, but you might be counting reps that don't count. You might like, you may be taking too much rest. Like those numbers aren't solid. The solid numbers are going to come from your development folks, whether it's a recruiter, a special operations recruiter, or one of the folks that are working at T3I. What I would like to see you do is I would like you to give me numbers from the second IFT that you run back to back. If you can give me numbers that are passing on the IFT, if you go out with the intention one day, you're like, all right, this Saturday, I'm going to take 2 hours of my time and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go run an IFT. I'm going to get done with that IFT. I'm going to take a quick refuel break, and then I'm going to get right back into another IFT. If you can pass those IFTs 2 times in a row and your numbers, if there's not a huge dip in between test 1 and test 2, that you will raise my eyebrows. That puts you into that upper category for me where I think you're going to be successful. And again, especially the runtime.
Yep.
If that runtime is close to what you ran your first run, let's say you ran that 6:30 pace, you dropped a 9:45 on that first test, you run like a 9:45 to like a 10-minute on that second mile and a half, and bro, we're having a conversation. Like now we're talking. Now we're like, okay, I think, you know, we're about right. Because what that indicates to me is that not only are you able to perform under that sort of stress, but your training volume is appropriate.
Yeah.
The training volume, the amount of stress that you're putting on your body for those events is appropriate, especially if you can repeat those numbers the second time.
And that's the same for a no notice, right? And what I mean by no notice is, hey, you worked out today. You happen to hit me up to check you out on a test, right? And I go, okay, well, I'll see you at the track in 30 minutes. And you go, well, I trained this morning. I lifted weights or I squatted this morning. It's like, so let's go.
Right.
And 30 minutes later, and you're passing it. Hey, that's great. That's awesome. Your volume is probably accurate, right? But if you can't train twice a day or just off the cuff, no notice, go to the track, you have 30 minutes to hydrate, prepare, and stretch out however you got to do, and you're going at it, then you probably got to change something in your training regime because you're not there. You're not ready yet, and you're not preparing yourself the way that you need to.
Right. And there's a little nuance to this, right? Like, are you ever going to feel ready to go? No, you're probably not. You know, I'll tell you what makes me sure that you're not ready to go, or it makes me think you're not going to pass, is when you tell me you're absolutely ready to go. You're like, oh, I'm ready to go crush it. Are you? There should be a little bit of fear in those words. There should be a little bit, a little trepidation, a little fear, a little uncertainty is good, right? You're never going to feel like you're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look at me and you're like, I crushed 2 IFTs back to back. My run times didn't dip. My numbers, you know, my cal numbers were within 2 or 3 or maybe 5 when we're talking, you know, 2 or 3 pull-ups, you know, 5 or 10 push-ups or sit-ups. My run time was within 15, 20 seconds of each other on that second IFT. You know, am I ready to go? I'll be like, bro, you did all the work you needed to. Like, I can't tell you if you're ready. I can't tell you you're going to feel ready, but I can tell you you've done the work. I can tell you for sure you've done the work.
Oh yeah.
And that's the point where you want to be at. Because again, this stuff, it's a lot of luck, man. It's not getting injured. It's getting enough sleep. It's not getting sick. It's staying mentally engaged for 10 weeks. Like, that's a long time. You know, to be mentally engaged and to be on your game every single day, that takes a toll on you mentally. It takes a toll on you physically. You're going to see, no matter how much volume you're training before you get in, it's not going to come anywhere near that volume, especially when you're talking about durability week.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about 18-hour days, running 20 to 22 miles a day, you know, 18-hour days at a minimum. Like, you're not getting a whole lot of sleep. There's going to be days where you get 0 sleep. You're not going to be getting enough food. You're not going to hydrate enough. You're going to be going through high stress training events. They're going to expect you to perform mentally. Like, it is just a punch in the face. It's a fight. And you're going to have to figure out what to do in that fight.
Yeah. And if you're happen to be in the pipeline right now and you're listening to this, hit us in the comments. That way other people know and tell us, are we out to lunch here? Like, are we completely wrong? Or are we like, no, dude, tell us your story in the comments, because people are reading the comments and they want to know, are we completely full of shit or only somewhat full of shit? And so be honest. And if you didn't train well enough, or it was a slap in the face to you, throw it in the comments, because people read it and it'll help, like, people understand, like, this is serious. You are training for your future. That's what you're investing in yourself. Every time you go to the gym, every time you hit the track, every time you hit the pool, you're investing in yourself for a future that you're going to have in Air Force Special Warfare, Navy SEALs, Green Berets, Rangers, and so on, right? Invest in yourself, and you're going to see what's going to happen. And even if you don't make it, you still invest, you've still bettered yourself. Right. It's not like it's all for nothing. You still changed things within your brain. You still changed physiologically your body and
your habits, your diet, like all of those things. Like, it's the fact that you even signed up to try.
Right.
Like, we are very hesitant to give you too much positive feedback, right? We try to keep you very even keel, but the fact that you signed up even to try this thing, you should be proud of that.
Yep. Even if
you fail out on the first day, right? You gave it your level best. You really tried. You trained for a year. You get there and you don't meet an evaluated event in the first couple of days. You did more than 99% of society.
It wasn't a waste.
You did more than 99% of the military. Just telling the people in your life that you're going to try this thing and entering the development program, truly, you deserve kudos for it. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have a long road of work ahead, and the end goal is, of course, to be successful, and that's why we're here. But you've already done something that other people are scared of and they don't do. There's plenty of people in the comments like, oh, I was going to, and then I saw, like, the culture or the career field, and I thought, like, I wouldn't be a good fit. Like, all these excuses. No, bro, I mean, like, the Air Force doesn't know what it's doing with the pipeline right now, so I, like, decided to wait. Stop it.
I don't like the administration.
Like, I don't like the way this is going, so I decided to, like, keep doing my construction job where I was allowed to cuss, because we don't, it's funny. Oh, man. I was talking to one of my bros, and he works at the Tier 1 unit, and I was telling him the funny DM that we got where somebody told us not to cuss because we're not recruiting, like, construction.
This was a controller, I think, right? That told us.
No, he was a J.
So it was a PJ.
My boy is a PJ. Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, it was just a funny story. Like, somebody told me not to cuss, and he was like, well, that's weird because I was a construction worker. And I was just laughing. I was like, well, that's fine. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, the only reason we don't cuss as much as we normally do, well, especially me, like, everybody thinks I'm this squeaky clean. I'm probably the worst when it comes to cussing out of all of us.
Worst. You're the worst with everything. The most unhinged stuff that gets shared in the group chat is always you. It's always you.
I just got everybody fooled. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's actually the wild feedback. We just keep it clean for YouTube, and because maybe you're listening to this with your parents in the car, or maybe the parents are listening with their kids in the car, like, whatever. We just don't want to do that unless you're members only. Then we kind of let it fly. But
Yeah.
but the feedback that we got from recruiters and recruiting squadron was like, hey, we actually see better feedback on people when you do cuss and when you do than when you say freaking and dang and that kind of stuff. Like,
Hey
so
man,
fuck it.
I remember that commercial. I think it was like a gum commercial where it was like they were like using weird slurs. It was like, you lant licker, like keep your mouth clean with orbits or something. It was funny. It was a funny gum commercial.
But
yeah,
it's not, like I said at the beginning, nothing we said was cosmic, right? Sometimes it's carrying in groceries, like just loading up. And as a dude, you should be loading up groceries
One
as much as
trip.
you possibly can. One trip.
One trip.
You know, but you know, it's helping you with farmer's carries, right? Or do it all on one side, because then that suitcase carry is going to help you with your core strength. Park at the farthest parking space that you can to help get those extra steps in. I mean, it's again, it's not cosmic. It sounds silly, right? But you're just prepping yourself and you're doing more already than majority of people that are out there that you're seeing walking through Target, Costco, Hobby Lobby, wherever you want to call it, right? It's all about doing more and increasing that volume.
Well, and that's kind of what I want to end on, right? Like we talked about time on feet, we talked about run time, we talked about nutrition and hydration, we talked about, prioritizing the important things and taking your test in the IFT, but everything starts with your mental state, right?
Yep.
Making a choice. We have so many people that DM us all the time. They're like, I'll do anything to be a PJ. Okay, well, will you wake up a half an hour earlier when you take a walk to get 10,000 steps? Will you not eat, 75 street tacos when what you could eat is, a 10-ounce steak and some good clean carbs? And make sure, will you go to bed on time? Will you stop looking at your phone and doom scrolling for 45 minutes before you go to bed because you know that affects your sleep? Will you go to bed early as opposed to staying up and watching YouTube or Netflix? You can stay up if you're watching our podcast. If you're listening to my voice, it helps you go to sleep. That's science. But when you tell me that you want to do anything, well, it's simple. You can make that choice every single day, but it has to be a choice that you make. You can't, when you say these things like, I'm going to try out for Air Force Special Warfare, these jobs take a relentless obsession. There is a great quote that I heard from General Clark. He used to be the superintendent of USAFA, and now he's like at the head of the college football committee. He's awesome. And I heard him talk, and he said, there is no end to better. If you make a choice to get in these career fields, if you're in the development program, everything that you do should be focused on success. Every single thing, every single part of your day should have a relentless obsession towards you being better for your task at hand. It's not good enough to go to one development session a month. It's not good enough to just go to a 2-hour training session a day. And then for the rest of the day, you're laying around on your phone, not hydrating, not doing mobility. It should be a constant thing in the back of your mind. When you get in and you're like, man, that was a tough training session, I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to watch some YouTube. Fine, watch the YouTube, but do it while you're stretching. Do it while you're crunching your hips. Make sure that you're taking in, I'm going to drink a half gallon of water while I'm watching these YouTube videos. Okay. There should be a relentless obsession. There should be a constant progression towards your goal the entire time. And the mindset shift has to come from you.
Yeah.
We can tell within a minute of talking to somebody if they are relentlessly obsessed with getting into these jobs. It's not enough to just be like, oh, I wanted to be a PJ my entire life. Okay, well, you eat like crap. You don't go to bed on time. You train. Some days you walk into the gym and you train half-ass and you leave. You don't take the IFT in one solid shot as you're supposed to, and you've been lying to yourself, right? We can tell within a minute. You have to have a relentless obsession to do this. The only people that graduate are people that are relentlessly obsessed with doing these things every single day. And it's a choice. It's a conscious choice you can make for everything. Hey, I'm supposed to wake up at 6 because I got to be at work at 8. This sucks, but I'm going to wake up at 5:30. I'm just going to wake up and I'm going to get out the door. I'm going to put my shoes on and I'm going to go for a walk so that by 6:10, I've got a couple miles under my belt. I've got my steps going. I got some sunlight on my face. And now I'm ready to get ready for work. And I'm going to go get this job out and I'm going to be ready to train later in the day. You have to make that mindset shift. It has to flavor everything in your day. Every single thing in your day that you're doing has to get you closer to your goal. And if it's not, then you have to stop doing that thing. if your screen time, if you get that screen time report and it's like you spent 15 hours on Instagram this week, and that 15 hours wasn't because you had it in front of you doing stretching, doing mobility, doing durability, you got to stop.
Oh,
you got to figure out a way to make this your number one priority, because if it's not, you're going to fail.
Yeah. And Goggins has talked about being obsessed and stuff like that. But really, if people, by obsession, we mean if people aren't your friends, your family aren't going like, geez, dude, you think you're taking this a bit far? You're like, dude, it's a job. Like, are you sure you need to be going out? That, you already trained this morning. It's 9 o'clock at night. I know we've got, some kind of event. Nah, man, I'm skipping the party. I gotta train. I gotta hit the track. I've got to get these sprints in. That's what we're talking about with obsession. When you start, yes, you need friends, you need family and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, like, do you need to go to that party? Do you need to go to the bar? Do you need to go get hammered someplace, doing your underage drinking that you're doing? Like, no, you don't, right? Go get yourself better. And then that is the obsession that we're talking about, where people just start questioning, bro, man.
Maybe go to the party, but look at everybody at 9 o'clock and be like, sorry, I got to be in bed at 10. So I'm going to get out of here
later. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's a perfect way to end. And I know that we kind of just focused on physical stuff here, and the pipeline in reality is 20% physical and 80% mental. But if you can take 20% of the pipeline and not ever have to worry about it, and it's like taking decisions out of your day, right? You got all these things, all these different choices. First thing, eating breakfast, right? No, it's the same thing for breakfast every day. Okay, it's one less thing I got to worry about and make a decision on it, and do that through the day. It's the same kind of thing, right? So 20% of the pipeline I don't have to worry about. The other 80%, that truly is the most difficult part of the pipeline. And we'll cover that in another episode on ways that, Aaron and I and Trent kind of strengthen our mental capacity. But that's what we got for now, folks.
Yeah, appreciate it. We hope we gave you some good cheat codes, at least, where to start. Hit the comments up. Again, if you guys are in the special warfare pipelines, or if you guys are close to shipping out, man, hit us up. Tell us about your experiences. Tell us if we're on base, if we're off base. We're always here to work that out.
Absolutely. Visit us over on winsready.com. Get yourself some merch. We've got the Hero shirts. We've got the Hero 2.0 shirts. We've got the Operation Midnight Hammer. We've got Make AFSW War Great Again. We've got flags. You can also, if you are going to do the Operator Training Summit, you can buy it right then and there. So listen, we're happy you guys are here.
Get your seat. I'm telling you, I know how this one's going to go in Nashville, and we're going to run out of seats really quickly. There's going to be that 1 week period where we go, I think we're at like 15 to 20 people now. We're trying to cap it right around 50 for our instructional load. I think that's about right for the instructor ratio. This thing is going to go from 20 to 45 in a week. Like I'm telling you right now, that's just how it's going to go. So if you think that you want to be a part of this thing, you got to start making plans for it now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everybody. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a comment, hit a review, and we appreciate you being here.
Thanks. Train hard, y'all.